Good evening, everybody. How's it going today, Lindsay from LL Cool Games?
Um, Today's going, man. It's almost done already. It's flown by.
Yeah, it's been one heck of a day. I was telling you off air. It was work was a rush. Things are just kind of flying by, and now we are here together once again. I think for the fourth time. I think we've done this five
What?
times. You did it once without me. I think this is number five that we're.
Five? All right.
Yeah, so we have come together to talk about the indie RPG awesome game that is Sea of Stars. But it's not just Sea of Stars we're going to talk about. It's really just whatever else comes to mind in conversation as well, because together, Lindsay and I are going through Sea of Stars together. We're both playing it for the first time, and we're meeting once a week, typically on Tuesdays, roundabouts this time, to talk about what we are feeling about the game as we go, share some war stories, and just talk about things that come up in conversation in general. So we've had a lot of people along with us on the ride as we're playing this game. It's been really great to get some feedback too from those that have played the game and have kind of commiserated with us with the things that we don't like, but also cheer with us the things that we really do like. So it's awesome that you decided to stop in and check us out today. So we're going to be getting into the game itself. Now, you'll notice the little ticker down below. Just to be clear, for those of you that are joining us, we will be talking some spoiler elements involving the gameplay.
Definitely.
Exactly. And some of the story as well. So at this moment, we're both up to this creature that we have defeated in battle, known as the Dweller of Woe. So if you know what the Dweller of Woe is, if you've played the game before, we are not going to talk about anything beyond the defeat of this awesome creature because, well, we haven't gotten there yet, so we ain't got nothing to talk about. But anything before that, story, gameplay, or otherwise, is on the table. So your participation in this stream is your consent to be spoiled. So you have been warned. But either way, it'll be a great time. One thing, too, I want to mention before we get into the cursory introductions. We normally stream at 9 Eastern. We're streaming at 8,
Yeah.
obviously. But the reason we pulled that back is one of our dear friends, known as Retro Rob, is involved in a charity stream that's happening at 9 o'clock Eastern, which is going to take place right after our stream is over.
Right.
Lindsay, you educated me about this a little bit ago, but did you want to talk about what that is and what's going on with Retro Rob and his stream?
So it's a group of guys. I'm guessing all game related since we all seem to, right, kind of have our own different flavors of the same thing going on, that are getting together in support of PatmanQC. He is a quality, high production value YouTuber who makes videos mostly about arcade games. And so it's all the way back to like the history, and sometimes he even has like schematics for the original game cabinets and stuff. It's incredible what he can dig up and find. Right, I don't know exactly what's going on, but if somebody is in need, if a group of people feel the need to be supportive, then we'll be there and be supportive too. So that's why we're playing a little early tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what I'll end up doing too is if I can make the system do what I want it to, I did grab the link to that charity stream. I'll drop it in the
Nice.
comments, which should generate back to those that are watching before
Oh,
or
there you
even
go.
after the stream. So, that'd be a quick way if you wanted to
Perfect.
dip over and check out what's going on over there. Uh,
Awesome.
so yeah, there's that. And then before we get into it, just very quickly, in case this is the first time you are joining us, I wanted to allow ourselves to introduce ourselves to you so you know who it is that you're staring at and listening to at the moment. So, real fast, my name is Frank. I go by Nomad. I have a podcast called The Retro Wildlands, which is out on all the cool, actually, all the podcasting platforms I can chuck
Say
this
the
thing on.
cool one.
Yeah, no, they're on all of them. I found the most obscure ones, and we're on there too. But my podcast is more or less me going back and playing old retro video games that I missed out on as a kid. But with a twist, I take the listener through the game itself a little ways by using music and sound effects. So it's kind of like we're playing the game together. So it's a great way to check out a game if you've never played it before, or it's a wonderful way to jump into a game that you used to play or love and get a little nostalgia out of it. So That's mostly my thing. I'm also on YouTube. I have a couple video reviews up there now. My latest was on a Metroidvania indie game called Chasm. Highly recommend it. Check out my video review. So that's kind of me. Lindsay, who are you, and why do you keep joining me on these?
Who am I? First, I have to say the fact that Frank on his podcast can take, the most boring game, like what is it called? The Russian
Yeah,
stab,
Russian
Russian
Attack,
attack.
the simplest
The
game I
f-
think I've ever played.
right, the fact that you can take a game like that and make it engaging and interesting through a podcast, that's the good stuff. So, I was not bored listening to you complain about having to stab dogs. I was not bored.
I
What do I do? Okay. I'm Lindsay. I'm LL Cool Games on Facebook. I'm LL Cool Games on YouTube, and now I'm LL Cool Games on Insta too. Who would have guessed? So now
nice.
I'm sure a lot of people from my contacts list are like, what? It's been interesting, some of the messages I get. It's like, no, I will not be posting pictures of my people or my cats. This is going to be like strictly video game stuff. So it's kind of been fun to add that to my pile of, oh, where should I post this? What should I do? Yeah.
That's awesome. I subscribed to or did all the socials when I first started the thing, so I'm almost balancing too many. I like Instagram for what it is. I like putting music on
Yeah.
my posts because why not? So yeah, well,
Absolutely.
welcome. You're one of us now.
Yes.
Then wanted to say hello really quick to the Analog Kid
Yeah.
83. First time
That's awesome.
watching and listen to the podcast from time to time. That's awesome, man. I'm subscribed to you on YouTube. I know you put some awesome gameplay footage up on your channel too. So if you are watching
Thanks.
the stream now or later, check out Analog Kid 83. He's got some good stuff up on the YTube there. So thanks for hanging out, man. So all right, Lindsay, let's get into this. So we're gonna kind of catch ourselves up on where we're at with this wonderful Sea of
Yeah.
Stars RPG. So very quickly, I'll try to recap a little bit of what we had talked about last time. So gather around, children. Gather around gather around the fire. So in our game, our solstice warriors Zale and Valir, I can never pronounce her name, are on a quest to stop this evil menace known as the Fleshmancer, which I will say now probably for the fifth time is the coolest name for a villain ever.
Fleshmancer. It is.
Right. So most recently we did battle with a dweller of sorts, and after we did, dwellers are large creatures that if you let them grow too long they'll become world eaters and destroy the world.
Right.
So we don't want that to happen. So we did battle with one. It was a glorious battle, but two very important things happened. One, there was so much wanton destruction of a nearby city that citizens were displaced, and we through gameplay
Right.
had to help re-displace these citizens into a town that our good friend Garl affectionately named
Oh my god.
Mirth.
Yes.
So we did that, but also we found out that two other solstice warriors who are more or less our mentors,
Yeah.
Elena and Brugraves, I think is how you pronounce his
The
name.
worst name, seriously. What is this game doing? Yeah.
Exactly. But we found out that even though they helped train us as young children and we looked up to them as wonderful mentor figures, they do not have our best interests in mind apparently, and they betrayed
Yeah.
us in an act of conjuring a blood moon for an unknown enemy force because they just don't want to be solstice warriors anymore.
Oh
And
yeah.
they brought back the Dweller of Strife. The Dweller of Strife is apparently, we've not seen this thing yet,
We haven't
is
seen it
this
yet.
terrible threat that once upon a time just decimated countless people, killed 20 plus solstice warriors who are just warriors
Wow.
incarnate, and laid waste, like just all the waste all over the place.
All of it.
So we are now on a quest to, well, really to understand why we were betrayed by those we trusted, but more importantly, we are now,
Fair. Yeah.
yeah, we're on our way to figure out how to defeat and confront the Dweller of Strife. So that's kind of where we're at this moment. Did I miss anything? Is that kind of a thing there?
No, I think, well, and that's honestly been one of the things that keeps me going with Sea of Stars, right? Is all of these convoluted stories keep kind of coming back together. Um, you're randomly hiking through a snowy mountainside, and then the creepo triangle pops up, and the weird bird mask guys walk out. And you're just like, "What? I have to do this right now? I'm not ready." And so it's really interesting how they keep reminding me, right? Like, it's not just this. Like, there's this other piece and part that all kind of mesh back together. And I really think they do a good job kind of keeping those balls in the air, I guess, keeping you thinking about those other characters. Right. The fact that we totally got stabbed in the back. They helped us through one of the coolest fights in the game.
Yep.
Still one of the coolest fights in the game. And then they pieced out. Like, what? Yeah.
Yeah, it was unexpected. Like betrayal always hurts, but it's the
Yeah.
ones that you care about that hurt us the most when they don't want to be our friends anymore.
Yeah.
Real quick, wanted to shout out Uriah. Hey, how's it going? Thanks for hanging out today. So yeah, Uriah came and checked out one of our streams earlier too, so it's awesome to see you back. So apparently we're doing something right, or we just sound super soothing
We're
in the voice box
talking
there.
about Sea of Stars. That's it.
Heck yeah. So welcome Uriah. So, and real quick too, while we were talking, I realized that my little ticker down there, I talk about gameplay spoilers up to the defeat of the Dweller of Woe. I misspoke and mistyped. It is the Dweller of Torment is the most
Oh, is
recent
he
one.
Torment? Oh, that's so much worse.
I know. So I'm gonna
Oh no.
I'm gonna redo the ticker here really quick. But yes, it is the
Torment.
Torment.
And I mean, word. Like the story that gets you into that battle, that's tormenting. Agreed.
Very apropos, as you know, I don't get to use that word often, so we'll
Yeah.
go with that.
That's your 10-cent word for the day.
Exactly. So
Yes.
so we'll lead up to we'll talk about lead up to our battle with the Dweller of Torment, but some of the stuff I kind of wanted to get your perspective on, Lindsay, since it's been a whole week since
Yes.
we've been together.
I
So
know.
so after we established our town in Mirth, I think it was really the first time where we really had a chance to kind of explore the game world. Kind of
Yeah.
like a Final Fantasy game, like when you get the airship or you get a boat or whatever. We got a boat. We have
Yeah,
a boat.
but
We got a boat. Um, and we're able to go pretty much anywhere we want on the world map now. Although
yeah.
certain islands, like it's your typical RPG thing, right? Like you can't just dock on an island; it has to have like an actual dock
A
for you to get
stupid
off of.
little, yeah. Yeah.
Right. So if you want to visit somewhere and no one's built a dock, shucks, you can't.
Yeah, I have to come back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I know I made it a point to, and I do this with all RPGs. The moment travel in any capacity opens up, I'm immediately trying to figure out what I can do, where I can go, what side quests are around. And
Yeah.
I probably spent, and I think partly why I fell behind a little bit when we were trying to keep pace with each other last week is I was just enamored by a bunch of shiny stuff. But
Frank is out in the boat. Loo, 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 loo. Yeah.
exactly, and some things were pretty cool to come across. Others, kind of like I found some places that I couldn't really do anything with. Like there's still this island that I think somewhere in the middle of the game world that you get off on it and you go to a fishing hole, but there's no fish in the fishing hole and it's like eerily silent. Have you come across this yet?
I have not. Are we gonna stock it? We have to like bring every kind of fish from around the game and throw it in there. That'd be awesome. You've sold all your fish, so you don't have any to throw in the pond.
Yes.
Interesting. No, apparently I didn't dig. Yes, Sean, you absolutely do have to play this game. It's awesome. You can borrow my copy when I'm done. Yeah, I did. Where did I go? I went back. So I went back like up through the coral lands, right? And back and saw the sleeping dragon.
Yeah.
Just for funsies, right? Like you said, I can now. So I'm just gonna go back and see. Um, and it was basically a waste of time. I did fish a little bit more. Oh no, because you go back and didn't the elder tell you now this one solstice gate or something is open?
Yeah,
Is
there's
that why I went back? See?
That had to have been why, because yeah, you go back up past the sleeping dragon and everything like that, and there was a
Oh,
solstice
see
shrine
right
or
there.
whatever.
That's why Uriah is here, because he is spreading the wisdom right there.
Oh,
Play
nice.
it for free, kids.
Honestly, if I have the time and I
I
finish this with
know.
you, I would actually go back and play this on the PlayStation.
Trophies.
Exactly, for
Yes.
trophy support, because Nintendo hates any sort of like achievement system.
Right?
Anyway,
It's miserable. Come on, Nintendo. Yeah.
right? So
Yeah, so I went back and did is that the one with, like, the push block puzzle?
yeah,
Was
I think
one of
so.
them?
I
And it
think
was
so.
almost hard enough. I got frustrated and looked it up, but then I, like, managed to get it done, and I was like, "Yes." So, because those puzzles for those gates, I don't even remember what are we unlocking? Oh, you're trying to light up the thing that's ultimately gonna unlock probably
Something
the final bad guy?
maybe.
Um,
So
it was a
yeah,
super, super, like, encouraging puzzle. Like, it was just hard enough. I struggled a little bit, and then I got it, and I was really proud of myself. So,
y-
that's
yeah,
what matters, man.
yeah, exactly. And yeah, Sean, if you're
It's
considering getting
awesome.
it on the Switch, it's probably I think the better way to play, because I don't know about you and how much free time you probably don't have, but man, that portability is really helping us play this game
Yes.
with our busy lives.
Yes. Absolutely.
So and it runs smooth as silk too, and the graphics are amazing on it, even on that small little outdated system. So it's wonderful. But I have to say too, you going back and working that puzzle and everything like that too, like it really, it's kind of, I don't know, video game 101 really. But another thing that Sea of Stars does well is, like, as you continue to gain more abilities, whether it's the shoot air out of your hand, or you get
Yeah.
the not hook shot ability
The
to,
hook shot. It's even
yeah,
a hook shot noise. Like, come on, just
it's
call it a hook shot. Yeah.
exactly. So now you have more ways to traverse the environments and interact with the background. I, I'm pretty positive you got to this point. Pretty positive. So I might spoil
Uh-oh.
something just in case, but well, all I'll say is eventually you get the ability to control time anywhere, like where you can back up the day and move the
Right.
night forward.
So, yes,
You're there,
that's
right?
when you're in, like, the snow, right, and that one, though, I kinda was like, you walk, like, all the way up the hill, right,
Hmm.
and then you get there, and it's just like, "Ta-da." Like,
Right.
you're just like, "You have this power now." Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
pretty. It was pretty anticlimactic for what it was. But what I'm driving
But
towards is now
yeah.
it's another cool ability. And again, the first thing I
Yeah.
did was, as soon as I'm done with like that area, now I have this new toy. I want to go play with it and figure out what I couldn't do in lands past. And now that we have this boat, it's just like,
Oh
well, now I.
gosh, yeah.
So granted, I didn't find like a ton of treasure really, but I found a lot of cool little stuff, and even some accessories and stuff that I know is going to make the game a lot easier.
Yeah.
um, One thing I'll say, I think my favorite one, if you haven't done this yet, is if you're in the town of Mirth and you find, and I think it's near the bottom, if you go
Okay.
to the house that they built for Moraine, who was the old headmaster of the academy that the characters go to, he has a chest in the one corner, which is the key to his office in the academy. And you could just grab this key, and
What?
he grabbed this
That's
key,
awesome.
so you can finally see what's in there. And I won't spoil really what's in there,
Don't tell me.
but I will say that I came
Yes.
across an awesome accessory that fits Valaire, and I know how much you love
Yes.
using her moon shield ability. All I'll
I
say
do,
is,
moon shield, man.
so
It's
all
the
I'll say is
best.
go find his key and go raid his office. You'll be happy you did.
Yes.
So, but
Awesome.
but stuff like that. I mean,
Yeah.
but stuff like that, or even just finding the oddball area you couldn't get to before, but now that you can, now that you got the hook shot, you can whip your way up over to it. So
Right.
I think a lot of the fun that I was having before we got back on task per se was just finding all the cool stuff just kind of littered around. Now that I had the means to. I Metroidvania is not really the right word, but it's almost kind of like that. Now you have a new
You're
ability.
right,
Like,
yeah.
it's all right.
Yeah.
Now what can I do? Let's figure it out. It's that kind of loop is fun. I really like it.
Well, and that area where right, we're going all the way up to get to unlock that time turning ability, whatever they call it.
Yeah.
Um, like it's building up to it too, right? Like it's like this obviously needs to melt. Like, how, what, and then and I was almost getting frustrated too because that drives me nuts to have
Yeah.
to leave an area knowing that I didn't complete something, but I had to come back anyway, so.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, what is this here, Sean? Are you listening at
I
work? You're supposed to be,
eh,
doing a thing, and you're over here watching a couple people
he's
talk about games.
educating himself. This is quality time.
Awesome. And then Uriah's, yeah, you're gonna get that physical copy for the Switch. Just don't think about it. Just do it.
Yeah, just jump in.
Exactly. So awesome. So yeah, after some backtracking, and I got to do some treasure hunting and stuff. And if you haven't, definitely make some time to do it. There's a lot of shiny stuff out
Yeah,
there to be had, and more rainbow conch shells to unlock some
I'm
more
sure.
stuff.
Yeah.
It's I found a lot of stuff that it doesn't necessarily make like the game like super easy. If nothing else, it actually makes it more complicated for me because I found some more accessories that are like add +3 to this or reduce this ability cost by that, and I'm
Ooh.
like, oh, now I have options,
What do I wanna do? Yeah.
right? So
Oh,
it's
man.
definitely awesome. So I,
Nice.
So after that, yeah, we went to the save state kind of thing that the game calls it is the glacial hike. We go on the glacier,
Yeah.
and we eventually get the solstice amulet that we just talked about that allows us to shift time to solve those kind of puzzles. But one thing I wanted to ask you about in the glacier, the thing that I thought was the best about the entire experience
Mhm.
was the DJ Golem enemy. Did you see that guy?
Yes! The golem things are the best part of this game. Like, from that first one where it just, like, goes scoop and it, like, whips you,
Yeah.
that's hilarious, but yeah, then having to and yeah, some of the bad guys, it's like, why are you guys spending this much time on these sprites? Like, I
Yeah,
don't know. 'Cause they love it, that's why, but
they put a lot of
whatever.
heart and charm into that enemy design. So for
Yeah.
the uninitiated, allow me to do my best DJ Golem impression. He's he's sitting there. He's doing like this over a couple rocks, and when he
Yeah.
charges up an ability, he's just like doing one of these numbers,
He
like
jams, and then he goes, "Boosh," and
it
it's like, "Oh no, what's gonna happen?"
He's not messing
Yeah,
around. And the best part, outside even the awesome enemy design and just kind of how quirky it is right in time with the awesome music that's already going on. Like
yeah,
just one of those like, yeah, I know the fate of the world's at stake and I probably should get on that, but I kind of want to step back and rave a little bit. It's awesome.
right? Well, the best is when you get, like, 2 or 3 of them, and they're absolutely jamming together, yeah. Yeah,
I,
that's
almost,
hilarious.
almost let myself die just because it's like I can't kill him. I just got to keep on doing the
I
thing.
can't.
Awesome. So I wanted to call that out at least before we moved on, but yeah, we go up the mountain, the ice mountain. We get the army, the amulets. Everyone's like, "Yeah, that's a cool thing," and we're like, "Yeah, it is." So we use that to continue our journey, and on our
Right.
way to the Dweller of Torment, we have to go down. I think what was it? One of the longer jungle paths that had like a couple bits of free flowing water that had different currents, so you kind of had to throw
Oh,
yourself
yeah.
in the water. You remember that? I
Yeah, it wasn't terrible, but again, it's one of those where if I can see the puzzle almost, if I can see how I have to move around, that's annoying. Like, you're
yeah,
just making the game longer. Yeah,
yeah, that is the classic argument, right? Like, part of me was kind of like, all right, I kind of like the idea of I don't know where I'm going. I'm going to move my person around to get to the right currents and find the right ledge or something like that. But I don't know if it's my old age, but I have less tolerance for that kind of stuff. It's just like
right.
I don't necessarily want to beeline it from A to B to where I need to go because that's kind of boring. But at the same time, it's like one of those you can almost feel like you said when they're just kind of drawing it out a little bit and they really don't
Yeah,
have
it's like,
to.
it's right there. I can see it. Just let me go. Yeah. Which
It-
there's a lot of that coming up in this next area that we were in. Oh my gosh. Anyway, we will talk.
well, you take it from here. I've been hogging the mic a little bit, so after this jungle area, as we keep on going,
Okay,
take us
so
take us
right.
to the dweller.
Well, so first we have to talk about the archivist or archivist. How archivist archive.
Yeah.
Um, it. So right, then all of a sudden you find the time shifter thing and it's obviously yes. See, and Sean, this game is full of that kind of stuff. A lot of them are really rewarding puzzles
Yeah.
too. It's not, oh, there's the exit kind of puzzles.
Yeah, there's definitely a
Um,
lot more of that.
yes. So, right, you get the time turner thing, and I felt like they had gotten to a point in the game where they were like, okay, we want y'all to move on to the next stage. So here's a bunch of crap. And it just was right. So you got like an archivist spot where everybody's there, and the archivist just like reads you the riot act like, this is who I am, and this is what's going on, and this is the real name of the Fleshmancer. The Fleshmancer doesn't need a different name. That's the coolest name, right? Like, I will remember
Y
that for forever. Don't
it
give him a different name.
Yeah, and this archivist has been kinda checking in with us throughout the story every once in a while, but it's almost like he's
Right.
trying to tell the story of what's going on and always leaves it super ambiguous, and then we find him, and then he's just like, "Hey, I'm glad you're here. I have an expedition dump for you. Stay tuned."
Blah, 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 right? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, how long is this scene? What is going on? And it's like, luckily I was playing and it wasn't like bedtime and I'm like barely paying attention, right? I kind of like retained some of what was going on because he like sends you out and is like, oh, well, you know that place where everybody says don't go? Bye, go
Yeah.
there. Just have fun. And it's like, oh, okay. Like, am I? And then you do the RPG thing where it's like, am I really ready for the next level? Um, yeah. So then you just go. And and then we got to do the absolutely torturous area that
Ugh.
was Torment Peak. It was beautifully named.
It was it
Beautiful.
was it was very beautifully named, so I'm really excited to talk about that because you had gotten there way before I did, and it was one of those, like, you were doing, like, the potty dance, like, "Come on, get there, let's
Come
go."
on. Yes. Because
So,
I hated it. So I wanted somebody to talk to me about it, be like, "No, it's okay. Like,
that
let's keep going because it has to
that's
get better."
That's okay. That's why I'm here. But before we move on, Uriah, the puzzles in this game don't bother him, but the ones in 13.2 were rather upsetting. So I assume you're talking about Final Fantasy 13.2, and yeah,
No.
I am with you on that. Now, side note, and I don't think I've really told this to anybody. I have tried to play Final Fantasy 13.2 three different times on like three different systems. I feel
Really?
like I can't get into it. Well, I
What
can.
is 13?
So
I haven't
yeah,
yeah.
Final Fantasy 13, that's with main character Lightning. And God, it's on my leg, but
Lightning.
I have a tattoo from that video game. It's one of my first tattoos I ever got. For those
Nice.
yeah, for
Nerd.
heck yeah. I think it's been a while since I put it up on like my social media or anything. But for those that have played the game before, the tattoos, the brands that the characters get, the Lassie brands. I had one tattooed on my leg, so I really like 13. I think 13's like great,
That's wild.
but 13
Yeah,
too.
see?
It's got like a time travel mechanic, which it's like
Ooh.
it's it's like one of those time travel mechanics where like you have certain stages, you have this menu screen called the Historia Crux where you can choose different locations, and then sometimes you have divergent paths of timeline, so you have to go here, do a thing which will
Okay,
change
I'm not
something over
hearing
here.
anything that would make me not want to play this. So let's get to that.
No, that's about as far as I got. Like, the story was really hard to get into for me. I love the battle system. I thought it was really cool. It's not my favorite,
Is
but I
it
got
an
into it.
action battle system or is it still turn-based in 13?
It's more action, but it's kind of one of those things where you
Okay.
assign your characters job classes or paradigms, is what they called them in the first
Okay.
Final Fantasy 13. So everything's kind of automatic, but you can make some on-the-fly decisions to influence certain things in battle, or you can do actual commands if you so choose. But
Okay.
it's very quick. Like it's it's really fun for what it was, but 13.2, I just couldn't get into it. I kept getting lost in the story, and then God forbid I stopped playing it and
Yeah, and
came
then you
back
gotta
like
start over.
right 2 weeks
Right.
later. It's just like I'm in a tower, and I think I'm
Yeah.
supposed to do something here that's going to
Yeah.
influence a time thing. Anyway, I've gone on a little too far,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I like the game. I can't. One day though, I will. But I will say right here,
Awesome.
Final Fantasy X for life, Sean.
You
I'm
did.
with you on that one, buddy.
As long as you don't make me play blitzball, I'm fine. Don't
Ah,
make me do it.
all right, we're gonna have to have a whole nother conversation where you and I are actually playing Blitzball and talking about it
Oh,
because
Mysticles.
hey, Mysticles, how's it going? Awesome. All right, I let ourselves get off on a tangent. I'm
I
so
know.
passionate.
Wait, what game? See, Blitz, but Lindsay in college maybe was different than Lindsay now. I haven't played it right in a long time. So
I had the
we need
time.
X3. X3, yes.
I'm with you there. I God, when I had the time to play Blitzball and stuff like that, I really liked it because I think the more you play it and you unlock abilities and have people tech copy certain skills from others, like I thought it was actually kind of cool for what it was. I got so good at it that a replay of Final Fantasy X, I won the the first Blitzball tournament where you're pretty much supposed to lose. I
You're
won it.
supposed to lose? Right.
I feel like you're supposed to lose, but you can win.
Rat.
You
That's
can win it.
hilarious.
so so
That's
I did
crazy.
that. Yeah, you're right. I'm with you. I would love for them to go back and just go back in time and do Braska's pilgrimage, as it were. Go back in time with Jekt and Orin and the rest of them. That'd be great. Oh, so good.
That would be awesome.
Okay, what are we talking about again? I kind of want to go back and
Yeah.
play Final
Come on,
Fantasy.
Final Fantasy. We're printing money over here. Let's go. Do it.
Exactly. Yeah, get off your butts and just give us a Blitzball game in Final Fantasy X-3. All right.
Yeah.
Anyhow, all right. So let's get into. Let me. Can I dim the lights in here? We need to like dim the lights. We're
Dun,
talking.
dun, dun. I know. You need to not be able to see at all. And I walked into Torment Peak while we were on our way back from our trip to Pennsylvania, and I had to stop because you can't see because it's black. Like, I knew what they were doing, right? As an adult, you can look at something as an art form and be like, they're showing me what's going on. They're trying to, right, really impress on us how what devoid of everything, right? Because Sea of Stars is so gorgeous. That's
Mhm.
absolutely one of the reasons to play it. And then you walk into Torment Peak and go, what? Like, where am I? Who am I? What am I supposed to do in here? It's terrible. Yeah.
It's I don't know. Part of me really enjoyed Torment Peak, and I was looking through your list of screenshots here, and I don't know if you have a screenshot. I know you've got a screenshot of the actual dweller,
Of
but
them walking in and it just says Torment Peak and there's nothing because
yeah,
that's what it's like.
yeah, exactly. I'm gonna see if I can put this up
Oh
on
my
screen really
gosh.
quick to kind of just kind of
Yeah.
show. So move your face over there, and bam,
No,
yeah,
seriously, you guys.
it's
Black.
it's just black. Torment Peak. There it is. It's awesome.
There. That's it. That's all you need to see. My gosh.
It's something. I mean, on one hand, I was very enthralled with Torment Peak. Like you set the stage perfectly, Lindsay. It's like, hey, Sea of Stars is beautiful. It's vibrant. Your characters even give off their own color to which the world reacts to it, actual color
Yeah.
in real time, shadows and lighting and all that, which is amazing. But as soon as you get to Torment Peak, everything goes dark. And just imagine just like a red hueish tint of sorts, and it's almost like I can't. There's a game in my head that I'm thinking of, and I can't think of it, but like it's just like the surfaces of everything that you're walking by are almost like just moist and flesh colored, and it's just like
Yeah.
dark and dingy, and the music is low. And when you get into battle, it's not like this. It's not like your typical upbeat music. It's just kind of like one of
It's
those.
not. Yeah,
It's
you're right. It's creepy. The
right.
whole thing was creepy and I hated it. And it was just like, oh my God, kill all these. And then even some of the randoms that you would get into had like weird sod and slime world. Sean, what rando games are you playing, bro? It's awesome. And they'd like shield each other in battle so that the battle takes like twice as long. And it's like, why am I playing this? This is
it's
miserable.
it's
Yeah,
living up to the Torment name.
it was.
It was a it's actually interesting when I think about it. The Torment Peak was like a slog, right? Like it took forever to get through,
Yes.
but I I think that was the point. Like I almost feel like the
Oh,
developers made it to a point where it was just like you're going to be in this hellscape for a while, going after this big dweller creature that you know is going to be a challenge, and you're not just
right?
going to cakewalk your way through here. And it's not like the enemies were hard; it was just they were aggravating.
Mm-mm.
But
Yes, and it just took forever. It took forever to find, right, to find the edges on even just a little piece of land, and then you'd find out, "Oh, I have to jump in the dark." Like, and
right,
it's not like it's, like, skill jumping, it's push the button jumping, but still, I was always hesitant to jump, like, "Is this what
right.
I'm supposed to be doing?" Yeah.
Right, you didn't know which pathway was right, but I will say, and I don't know if this really helped, but you can change the order of your party and have either Zale, the Sun Warrior, if you will, lead you, or you can
Okay.
have Valir, the Moon. I can't remember their titles, but I call her Moon Monk.
Yeah,
But
because she is. Good.
right. But the character sprites when you're moving them around in the world actually give off an actual glow, and Valir's glow is like very light blue. So I put
Yeah.
her in front of me, and I don't know how much of a difference it made, but I felt like I could see a little bit more in
See
front
a
of
little
me.
bit better.
But
Tips and tricks.
it helped
Yeah,
me. I mean, there are crystals that are scattered all over Torment Peak that if you find them, the bigger ones, and you interact with them, they'll light up smaller
yeah.
crystals kind of around you and give you a little bit of semblance of light, which is nice. And it's kind of symbolic. The solstice warriors of sun and moon are lighting the darkness up, which was kind of cool. But yeah,
So poetic.
very much
By
so.
the time I was done, I was like, I don't care. Like, let's get through this." Right, and then you do get through it, and it's like, "What?" Like, the story again, this is not a game, I don't know, that I'm necessarily gonna hand to my nine-year-old and be like, "Here, dude,
Yeah,
deal
well,
with this luggage for the rest of your life."
yeah,
Yeah.
well,
What?
we'll get to that in just a second, but I wanted to call out
Yeah.
one more thing before we did. Well, and ask you a question too, so prepare yourself.
Mm.
But no,
Oh
for
god.
as dark as dingy as that place was, I really loved the enemy design in this area. Like I'm
Yeah.
not I those that listen to my podcast, I make mention here or there, but I love scary games. I love horror games. Like that's my adrenaline rush. People go skydiving. I play scary games, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
So the grotesqueness of the enemies, and it wasn't like grotesque like they were just blobs of flesh, even though that enemy does exist. Just there's like the scary, lanky, slender
Yeah.
men looking flesh zombies, and I don't know what it is, but I again, these developers, Sabotage Studios, really put their heart and soul into this game, especially down to the presentation. So as much as I hated fighting those enemies, god dang, did they look good. So there's
Yeah,
that.
and they were squishy. Like, I got to the point where, like, that wet, squishy noise was like, "Yeah, squish, squish, squish." Yeah, you're right. They were gross. They fit the environment. Yeah, again, they're professionals and know exactly what they're doing. So, yeah.
Exactly. So, and one thing I did want to ask you, just to maybe get a little bit of clarification. Now, did you want to get through this area quickly because it was kind of a slog, or were you just not up on the visualization, or what made you want to just get through this thing?
Um, a little bit of both. Yeah, and honestly, it was almost uncomfortable to play, right? There's no contrast, there's nothing. And right. Excuse me. They're obviously doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
They want you to feel that void that you're in. Um, but yeah, it kind of got now, I don't know. Like I didn't feel like there was too much of that like back winding like they do in other areas, like the glacial hike thing. Probably because they couldn't. I mean, you're already stumbling around in the dark. If I'm
Right.
trying to like back wind and retrace my steps and stuff, that wouldn't have gone well. I don't think I struggled too much with actually being able to find where I was going. I just wanted to get out of the dark. Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, it did feel very claustrophobic. I as well, as much as I like those scary kind of games or those games where you're kind of in the dark, that does get to you after a while. And I was feeling that
Yeah.
right up to the end, which is going to be a great segue, where we found, and I wish I saved the screenshot for this, we found fuzzy
Yeah.
butts in the ground.
I know, it's so funny.
And
It's
for
so funny, especially after, right, like this totally like depraved area, and then you're like, what? Like, what is this? Yeah.
yes, and those of you live with us now, yes, I did say fuzzy butts.
Fuzzy
Just
butts.
little fuzzy butts in the ground, and Valir stops and looks at the party and is like, "Are those Zale? Are those butts?"
Nice
I,
fuzzy
I s-
butts.
so so for context, we come across this tribe, I guess, of baby gorillas who have their faces
Yeah.
shoved in the ground, and their butts are in the air. And
Right.
I
Duh.
don't know. I don't know about you, Lindsay. At first, I was kind of like, this is dumb. What is this?"
This
And
is weird. Yes.
yeah,
Right.
and of course they're semi anthropomorphic and they can talk. It's like
Of course. And
okay, they
like
can.
bop up and down. Beep, 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 beep. Yeah. Well, and so they explain to us, right, that what they're trying to do is to be able to see the matron, and she's below. So that's like, okay,
Yeah,
this is the
the
weirdest gimmick to tell me that I have to somehow go down. Like,
right the
really?
yeah
Yeah.
the gorilla matriarch, mommy gorilla, is down below, and her cubs love her so much they're shoving their face in the ground so they can see her in the cavern below. It's
Right.
interesting.
And it was like, I hope there's
That's
more to this story.
nice.
And over saying fuzzy butts. We should
Exact.
say that more. You want more fuzzy butts?
Oh my god. I, I will. No, I had a funny thought, but I'm like, you know what? HR would find me somehow, so I'll say nothing.
They'd be like, the third time, Frank. No more
Exactly.
butts.
But all right, so strap.
Damn HR.
Nice, Sean. All right, so strap in for this, folks. This is where it gets dark. Um, so we find ourselves down below, and we're basically searching for this matriarch gorilla. Now, as we're going through, Zale is kind of questioning the rest of the party, like, why have none of the other solstice
Here's
warriors?
my gorilla
Oh yeah,
from
he's right there.
the poster. Yes.
Oh yeah, from the physical edition of Sea of Stars, brought to you by I Am
Yes.
8-Bit, who in no way sponsored this show.
Sadly, let's call him.
Right? But we get down there, and Zale's like, this is all crazy. How could the rest of the Solstice Warriors and that warrior society not know about this place? Because I
Yeah.
guess through some dialogue, it seems like, well, not seems like, we know this whole cavern, we had to like break the locks on two of these gigantic stone tablets to continue to move
Right.
into the cavern. It's like someone purposefully sealed everything down there. So Zale's like,
Yeah.
what the hell? So then we get into the next room and we find the gorilla matriarch like strapped to the side of the wall,
Yes.
just like hung there immobile. And she tells us this story basically that the dweller of torment, who's just up ahead, is growing in power and warping the minds of all the animals and creatures around. And I don't know why, other than just the fact that it's a dweller of torment, and she just kind of has to do that because that's her name. But
Yes.
she gets in the minds of these baby cubs and brings them to her so she can feed on them. But
Yes.
she makes the cubs
So
walk in
bad.
front of their mother on the way to get eaten, and every
To go
time,
get eaten.
yes,
Oh my gosh.
and mom's like, I try to get in their heads, I try to call out to them, but it always goes on deaf ears, and one by one I have to watch my cubs get eaten. And it's like, oh, this
Yeah, it's like, what am I playing?
right.
Please.
The the bright colors, the chipper music, the animations and stuff. I mean,
All
they
gone. It's
gone.
all gone.
Right. And I'm just sitting here going, "Oh, we
Yeah.
gotta help you
What?
because that's not good."
Yeah, that's true. We go into the fight rather pumped for success because I
Yeah.
was upset. Yeah.
Right. Like In the very beginning of the game, there was one moment where it kind of shattered that outward visage of beauty and wonder, what have you, and that's when our characters, when they're young, go into the Forbidden Cave, and Garl, who you can see up in the upper right hand side of your screen there with his pan, he
Bang,
he
bang.
yeah, he jumps in front of a monster that's gonna take a shot at Zale, and he loses an eye. Like
Yeah.
it was
Just like,
abrupt.
dang.
Right. I wasn't expecting that, but they
No.
they they didn't really dwell on it. And Garl, who's a part of your party now, you can tell he doesn't have his eye. No one really brings it up. It kind of is what it is. It's a character moment in time. Okay, and everything else is kind of it's fine. The tone goes back, but now we are back in the darkness. And
Dang.
what
Yeah.
I will say, and I'll get your thoughts on this, Lindsay. I as bad as this is going to sound, I love this.
I
I
know, it's so bad.
Right. I love this.
Yes, I want to kill everything. Save her. Yes.
The
Yes.
the biggest reason that I love this though is I mean, how many times have you played a role-playing game or any game for that matter, and you're going up against a villain or a boss or some sort of potentially insurmountable enemy or whatever, and you end up getting there and it's kind of anticlimactic, or
Yeah.
there's no real
Oh, yawn. Yeah.
yeah, there's
Yeah.
no real stakes or anything like that. It's like gaming 101. You just go beat the thing and continue on with the thing. It's you're fine.
Yeah.
But the way the developers have painted this narrative to where it lulls you into this, I wouldn't call it false sense of security, but like you kind of relax a little bit and you're out on your
Yeah.
adventure and you go to your campsites and maybe you listen to a story from Teeks and then you sleep
Yeah.
and you get that nice tone where you're all rested and off on your journey to save the world. But these moments really exemplify how menacing, dangerous, and just evil these things are. So
Yeah.
now when you finally go to fight them or interact with them, like you sure it's an RPG and maybe you're over leveled or you've got some great equipment, but you're really thinking to yourself, can I do this? Am I strong
I
enough?
know. Yeah.
And that is beautiful, just game design and writing and stuff in
Right.
general. So that I think right now, if I had to like rank all the things I like about this game, it's that. I love how it
Yeah.
makes me feel half the time. Like I wasn't
Yes.
expecting this.
No, from a cutesy game that has birds flying in the background, no. This was not what I anticipated either. Yeah. Yeah, so I went into this guns blazing. Like, I was like, "I'm gonna end everybody. I don't even care what it is. I know it's gonna be bad. I don't care." Yep.
Yeah. So we eventually get to the Dweller of Torment, who is just a big old gorilla who don't like you.
Yeah.
I
No.
think we got a screenshot of him we can show off too,
There's a
don't we?
couple. Yeah, it's just during the battle.
Gotcha. Yeah, we'll
Nothing
share.
nothing amazing, but I tried
I
to grab a couple.
I will say this shot here.
So good. Yes.
So like they'll do these. I don't want to call them anime. I don't. That's probably not the right word, but they're anime-ish style cutscenes, I guess. But
Yeah, they are.
they're beautifully hand drawn. They're full motion and everything. Every once in a while, we'll get to see them, and we get to see them for this fight. So walk us through this. Like, what's actually happening right here?
So this is so that the fire is the fist, the one fist of this big daddy evil gorilla that we're gonna kick the pants off. And it is so anime. Like it's so like a DBZ like battle scene where it like whips you around and they all look at each other and then you fight. Like it was so great. And
It was awesome.
especially after, yes, how depraved the Torment Peak was and everything else, to have this gorgeous cutscene was, like, super pumped. Like, I was already angry and ready to kill whatever it was. I wasn't ready for it to be a gorilla, though, too, even though that's totally illogical, right? If there's
Right.
baby gorillas and a mom gorilla, it's probably gonna be I hadn't gone there. Um
Nice.
Yeah, oh, so what
So
this
here it is.
is this is the team coming in to do what is it called? Do you remember
Oh,
what that what
yeah.
her, like, super level badass shoot 'em up.
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember.
our assassin in the party, I can never pronounce her name right either. Siri, something along those lines. Um,
Sarai, yeah, the
Sarai, probably.
pirate
Actually,
ninja.
Sarai sounds awesome. I like that actually. But no, her ultimate attack is the Vespertine cannons. The Vespertine is the pirate ship that we have, and
Which is
that goes.
so cool.
Yeah, and I gotta ask too. Like, did you like unlock her ability somehow?
No,
Because I just
when?
happen to.
When did this happen? I know. It just,
Right.
boop, here you go. Here's a
Yeah.
really hard battle. We're gonna shoot it with cannons from a boat.
Right
Yeah.
from above. It was crazy,
Mhm.
but for those looking at the screenshot, if you look all the way to the left and kind of down, you see the word combo. As you do attacks, you'll build this combo meter, and you have combo abilities. And Sarai, all of a sudden, if you get to max combo, you can use her ultimate ability that neither of us know where the hell it came from. But hey, it's
Yeah,
pirate ship cannon, so that was cool.
that's right. And it's the coolest cutscene, although I'm sorry, give me a skip. Once I see it, once or twice, give me a skip. Like,
Yeah.
because it's long.
Yeah, exactly, and I think that's kind of indicative too of, God, what is it? I'm thinking like Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 8,
Yeah.
where it's just like I
Yeah,
remember,
yeah, Ifrit. Okay, yes, I get it.
jeez,
Yes. Your
or
super boss. Mhm. Yeah.
right, or Final Fantasy 7, the original, where you have Knights of the Round, and you're watching
My
13
God,
Knights
which
of the
takes
Round tables.
forever.
Oh my God, it was just like
It's like, yes, I get it. It's amazing. Yeah. It's fun the first time.
exactly. So,
And then
but that reminds me too, something too to bring up about this. Excuse me, this fight with the dweller. When we first go into it, we're not able to do any damage to this thing. Like it's
oh,
just
that's right.
it's impervious to
That's right.
damage, and that's part of the whole atmosphere there too. Like, oh my God, this evil's so insurmountable.
Yes.
Can't penetrate it. But
I was like, "Oh god." I'm
so,
like, "Can I call Frank? Will he help me?"
but
What
but
is wrong? Yeah.
But what ends up happening and what leads into that cutscene that you were talking about earlier was, Sarai somehow she actually left the party earlier and then comes back in glorious
Oh,
fashion.
yeah.
And one of her unexplained superpowers is she can like do like Doctor Strange portals and cut like
Yeah.
portals in time and just kind of walk around and do whatever she wants. Um, and yeah, yeah, real quick, Uriah, Eden from
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 8 or Arc from Final Fantasy 9. I made
Oh
like
my
full
god.
blown dinner during those summon
Right.
animations.
I feel like, "Bye, I'll come back."
Exactly,
Yeah.
but no, Sarai finds a way to Doctor Strange portal above this monster, which leads to the
Right.
outside, which allows the eclipse that we were able to make happen with our new Solstice armlets
Mhm.
happen, so we could do damage. So that was a cool setup. But I did not care for the boss fight after that.
That is so boring.
It,
Another one of those, like, three-part, like, and I never even really
r-
figured out what the secret was to it. I just would pound him until he laid down, and then I killed him.
that's really the whole
Like, I
secret.
didn't.
That's the whole secret I found. So those looking
Yeah.
at the screen there, you've got him in the center, then you've got his big monster fists on the left and the right. And I never really noticed it, but you notice how the left his or our left, his fist is like red and the other one's kind of
Different
blue.
colored? Yeah,
Yeah,
I couldn't ever figure out, "Oh, maybe they were like sun and moon," but then it would have had the gauge to show us
I would think, but
that it would be weak to certain things. I would think.
right. Either way, but my whole strategy was I would focus on one fist, he'd fall over, I'd focus on the other, and then you would have 5 turns to do whatever you want to the body and do extra damage. So I would just do basic attacks and try not to use magic or anything if I could help it to take
Mhm.
out the arms. So then I'd have all the power orbs lying around. I could boost up and I would just unload with combos and Zale's Sunball and all that sort of stuff on the body. And I did that maybe like 4 times and eventually he was defeated. But
And it was done. Yeah.
right. But that's another boss fight, and we talked about this the last time. If anybody wants to go back in the archives and check that one out, uh, we had decided at the moment that about 70% of the boss fights in this game are okay. They're not
Yeah.
great, and they're kind of tropey. Like how many RPG boss
To an
fights are there?
extreme. Right.
Yeah.
Yes, come on.
Like how many out there are just like, oh, you can do damage to the main body, but if you really want to do damage, knock these two things out over here first, then you can damage the body. It's like, okay, I get it.
Right. I
So
get it. Exactly. Yeah.
right. So it was a fine fight. So eventually we fell the Dweller of Torments, and that's about where we got. Now I'm a little farther ahead of you, Lindsay. So the last couple times you told me to get my butt in gear. Now it's my time to
Right?
tell you to
Now
get your
I'm
butt in gear.
excited.
Oh,
Yes.
all I'll say is we're not going to learn anything new as far as like story wise that's going to like put things in perspective, but
Mhm.
the couple hours I'm ahead of you, we're going to interact with a few people that are going to motivate the hell out of us to get through this thing.
Yes.
Is how I'll lay
Awesome.
it. All these little story threads, I finally got to a point where they're starting to come together, and
Ooh, good.
I'm kind of excited. And there's a boss battle coming up that is going to rock you emotionally, so I can't wait for that.
Oh god. This one was bad enough. I can't imagine. Let's go. Yeah.
Exactly. So, what time we at? So we got a couple more minutes before we were probably going to end it here. If you are listening now and did not catch us at the top of the stream, did want to say, well, typically we typically hang out at 9 o'clock Eastern and then go till 10, but we're an
Right.
hour early today, and that is in the interest of our dear friend Retro Rob, who you can find on the YouTubes. He's like a Keanu Reeves clone if you've ever seen his face. Um,
I don't see it. Am I the only person? I'm like Keanu blind.
I don't see it.
I
I
don't
don't see it
see the
either, but
likeness.
I'll play
Okay,
into it.
we'll plug it.
Yeah,
That's
but
great.
Retro Rob, who's an awesome dude. He puts out some great content on YouTube, and is just an overall nice guy. Like
Yeah,
Lindsay and I have had the pleasure of meeting him in person. He is just a stellar dude. He is involved in a charity stream of sorts that's happening in the next 3 minutes, which I will
yeah.
throw a link to that stream here in the chat if the system we're using will
Perfect.
cooperate. But we wanted to be mindful of him. And could you remind me, Lindsay, who it is that he's doing that charity for or helping out with? I already forgot the gentleman's name. I need to look
They
him up.
are talking about so it's Pat, P-A-T instead of P-A-C. Very clever. Nothing like using a punny name for your YouTube. Yeah. PatmanQC. He does honestly, it's like historical educational videos about arcade games. Um, and he's just a good person and an interesting person to talk to and to hear talk. And again, right, if one of our own needs help, then we help. So we'll be there.
Yeah, definitely. So if it worked correctly, even though I got a weird error at the end, I should have dropped a
Oh,
link to that in the chat for those watching on my YouTube,
there you
Lindsay's
go.
YouTube, and I think my Facebook page. So if you wanted to check it out, even if you just stop by and say, hey, that's pretty awesome too. I mean, it's not
Okay.
like I don't think they're going to be like demanding money or donations really from anybody, but
Massive amounts of money.
all the
Probably
money,
not.
but this community thrives on just helping each other, even if that help just comes down to a quick, "Hey, I'm thinking of you, and I've got you in mind." So if you have a
Yeah.
couple minutes, definitely drop by. If not, keep them in your thoughts. Um, Other than that, I think that's really all I got. Unless you got anything else that you want to bring up that
Awesome.
I missed.
No, this was kind of awesome. After that area playthrough, this was gonna be like therapy this week. I knew I was gonna need the talking to keep me wanting to go. So
Yeah, this
so
this
yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah, this is going to be good. Now, one of these streams, for those watching, if you do decide to come back, we should be back again next Tuesday. We'll probably be back at the 9 o'clock slot, maybe
Heavy.
earlier. Who knows? Just keep an eye on our social medias, and we'll let you know when that's going to happen. We did try to figure out how to put actual live gameplay onto the stream, although the laptop I'm using is not current, I'll say, and we chugged a little bit, so we're trying to work out the kinks. So stay tuned for that. We might spice up the stream with a little bit more of that. Once again, my name is Nomad. My real name is Frank, but I go by Nomad on my Retro Wildlands podcast. Check it out if you're interested. Lindsay, LL Cool Games, doing the things on the YouTubes. Give her a follow, and definitely follow her on Facebook if you think about it. If she gets over 100
Yes.
followers on Facebook, she's actually able to stream on her page too, and I think that'll be stellar.
Yay.
So Thank you all for hanging out with us. Sean, thank you very much. Everybody else that was in the
Thanks,
chat,
man.
Uriah, Mysticles, you stopped by for a little bit. Appreciate you all. And yeah, we will see you guys in the next one.